Good adventures, everybody. I'm Melissa Bonzak, and welcome to episode 102 of Books Cubed. Today, I have my co-author, Lisa Mahoney, is with me, and our friend A.L. Bruno, who writes space opera, and we are doing another one of our, writing prompt shows. I had no voice coming out. Gracious. And before we start, I want to give a quick shout out. On Instagram, I discovered I was deaf for like 25 years and I have a cochlear implant. So I've been rediscovering music, and I discovered an alternative artist named Jay Ingram. He's a Scottish singer. He is so good. I'm going to have links to his music. I use a couple albums out. I'm going to have links to his music in the show notes. So after you've listened to all the wonderful stories that we're going to create today, you can check him out. So if you've never, somebody's bong is going off. Sorry, everybody who's listening. It's probably me, hopefully not. I forgot to tell the computer not to alert me to things. Don't tell me things I don't want to know. So let me explain it real quick if you have never watched one of our prompt shows. Lisa and I wrote a series called Roll a Prompt Writing Journals. I'm going to look down at her. There she goes. She's holding up the mystery one, which is book number 1. There's 6 in the series. Mystery, horror, sci-fi, romance, fantasy, and a genre mashup. Yes, we wrote them. We know the order. We know what they're about. So what you do is you roll dice to create writing prompts, and then you write for however long. We recommend 20 to 30 minutes that you write. And if you don't think about it, and if you just write, you come up with amazing stuff. And this is for all the writers who have writer's block or find themselves rewriting the same paragraph over and over and over again. We're all guilty of it at some point. So Lisa and I were like, okay, we got to stop doing what we're doing. We're going to come up with a fix that's fun. We have so much fun with these. So in fact, we are going to be at the Orlando Book Reads doing a panel with the authors there in late August. So if you are going to be there, we're going to be there too. We'll also be selling the books there too. So let me scoot in a little closer here. So Tony is going to roll dice, and Lisa, this will determine which book we're going to use. So there are 6 sides to the dice and 6 books. So roll away, Tony.
Okay, here we go. First die roll is 5. We rolled a 5. L32. L32. Sorry. Fantasy?
Bingo.
Fantasy. Okay, fantasy.
Oh, goody. We haven't done this one very much.
Okay, next die roll.
Okay, next she is going to open to a random page. There are 30 sets of elements in each book, followed by 5 or 6 is it 5 or 6? 5 pages of lined pages where you write at the top the character or whatever the elements are. You write them at the top, and then you can write in the journal. If you buy the ebooks, you can we have a thing where you can download all the stuff and print it and do it. So it's easy to do. So you found a place, you found a page. Great. Don't show everybody. And so she's showing everybody. Don't look. Okay. Roll your dice, Tony, and let's see what we're doing first.
The bones. 5.
Our character is a Cyclops.
Oh my gosh, that's interesting.
Okay.
Okay.
What else are we rolling for?
The next roll is for an object.
Object. 3. We've rolled 3.
We also have a magic carpet.
Sorry, just thought of something. Never mind.
No, go with that. Go with that first thought.
Okay.
The third roll will just be for a word that you should include in your story.
4.
Fever. Fever.
Okay. Oh my goodness. I think I've got an idea.
I got nothing. I nothing. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to set my timer, and no one has to watch us write, because we're going to start writing and then magically be done. And then you'll get to hear us read the story. So I'm going to set my timer. I'm going to get to the timer settings. Timer. I'm going to
Thinking.
start at 20 minutes and then I'm going to beg everybody for 10
For
minutes
5.
more.
We always do this. So if anybody out there does this, be nice to yourself. So,
Yes, yes. We do this every time we start and then we're like, oh no, we need more time. No, there was once where in 20 minutes I came up with my story. So I was really surprised. Okay, so I'm going to hit start and we are going to start writing and that's now.
okay.
Let me bring this back here. Okay. All right. So
I
who
should
would
go
like to?
first and get the humiliation over with,
Yeah, I know the feeling
or
right now.
go last and feign sickness.
Yeah.
I will happily go last.
Okay.
I'll let you go last. I'll go first to get mine over with because
Okay.
I wasn't sure what to write. And then it kind of came to me. And of course, I didn't have enough time to complete it. But
Yeah,
that's the way it goes. I have no title.
okay.
So if people need to be reminded, our three elements are a Cyclops, a magic carpet, and a fever. And we're writing in fantasy. Okay, so somehow Jenny's finger ended up in Maggie's eye, probably because Maggie had just insulted her sister. And 6-year-olds aren't as capable of controlling themselves as 10-year-olds. So Maggie spent the afternoon in Dr. Gregor's waiting room before coming home wearing a yellow eye patch covered in tiny red hearts. Jenny had laughed at her and Maggie was tempted to give her sister a matching injury, but she didn't. She was 10. She was almost a grown-up. Instead, she stuck out her tongue and retreated to the little office that her mother had made in the attic. Well, in part of the attic. Most of it was a big mess. But on one side, her mother had tucked a desk against a wall, sitting it on a circular rug, surrounding it by boxes of books. Her mom's job was reading stories and telling people what she thought of them. Sometimes she let Maggie pick out the next book to read. It was hot up there when the fan wasn't plugged in, but it was comfy and familiar, and it scared her sister, so she liked it. And tonight, as her mother was making dinner, she casually asked Maggie for help. Can you pick out a pretty cover for me? Something that looks fun. I need to read something fun. Maggie didn't feel like sitting at her mother's desk, so she pushed a box toward the center of the attic, where her grandmother's things were stored. She wanted to sit in the platform rocker that her mother had said she was going to fix up and put in her room, since before she'd been Jenny's age, and it was still in the attic. Oh, and I kind of missed around here. Okay, let's see. But her mother, she couldn't get to it because her mother had been moving things around. A baby carriage, a dollhouse, something Daddy called a steamer trunk. Jenny had thought that meant it was full of steam. It wasn't. Maggie had laughed at her, but she'd been disappointed. Boxes of baseball cards that her mother had said were worthless, but her daddy couldn't part with. Maggie pushed and shoved and dragged until all that was left near the chair was an old rolled up rug. It looked heavy and dusty. She didn't want to touch the dirty fringe, so she gave it a shove with her foot. It slid away from the chair and unrolled. Maggie waved at the air as the dust filled the room. And then her good eye was watering and she rubbed at it and stumbled just a bit. And she felt the soft rug under her toes and a cool breeze hit her face. And she was sliding as if someone was dragging the rug and her along with it. And that's it.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that was nice. I want to hear more. I liked that.
Yeah, you captured those two, that young voice really well. I loved it.
Yes, agreed. And
Thanks.
the sense memory or the sense discussion about touching the carpet and then the feeling of being dragged, and also just the sticking out the tongue really kind of made me just kind of happy because it's real.
Yeah.
So
I know, isn't that how, even as adults, isn't that how we want to behave?
God, yes. Are you kidding me? Oh, okay.
All right, that was excellent, Melissa. I really loved it. It was just very cute. Okay, so mine is, well, it is. It's here goes nothing. And I handwrite, so I'm going to stumble over some of my writing a little bit, I'm sure.
That's okay.
This is titled The Golden Thread.
Oh, I like that.
Beshmak shivered as the fever flared. The sweat droplets covered his forehead and pooled in the corner of his eye. He blinked away the salt and raised his hand to alleviate the stinging, but his hand kept miscalculating the center of his forehead, landing on an ear or his nose or just a general pimply vicinity up near his receding hairline. The fever was making him delirious. He had to get the bullet out of his leg, but first he had to figure out how to get Temeka back. Bring us the golden thread or you'll never see your wife again. Think. He gritted his teeth, moaning through the pain, and tried to focus. Golden thread? He knew nothing about any thread, golden or otherwise. He knew something was wrong when he got home from SPES, the Society for the Preservation of Enchanted Secrets, where he was a third-tier bookkeeper. Temeka's usual spices of coriander and thyme were absent. The door was ajar, and thumps and throaty moans landed in his ears. Eye wide, he took in the mess and saw with anguish his wife tied and beaten in the antique rocking chair. Her eye was swollen shut, but her head lifted in earnest when he screamed, "No!" The goons turned on him. "Stop there." Beshmak continued. Nothing would keep him from his love. Two wrestled him to the ground. Give them what they want, Temeka's voice eked out. What? What do you want? As if you didn't know. I don't, he pleaded. One goon pinned his shoulders to the ground, forearm choking him. He was losing air, but managed to maneuver the tangle of them on the floor closer to his wife and caressed her slippered foot. She let out a hopeful shudder. Please tell me what you want, Beshmak softened his voice. The ringmaster goon leaned down and whispered in his ear, the golden thread. The words repeated over and over. He hoped the repetition would give him some clue, but nothing came. Ring, the head goon swore. Damn it, time's up. He directed one of his lackeys to untie Temeka from the chair and get her to the van. Beshmak took the little slice of freedom to fight back. His efforts were thwarted. Bang, fire shot through his thigh. As he slumped to the floor, he heard Temeka's feet shuffling out the door. Bring us the golden thread or you'll never see your wife again. In and out of consciousness, he fought off the pain and thought, but to no end. He feared he'd never see Temeka again. With a small burst of fight in him, he pulled himself up to rest his back against the couch and tore at the throw, a wedding gift from his boss, that lay across the arm. Using his teeth, he ripped a strip of the blanket and tourniqueted his oozing leg. He thought about their wedding just 3 months earlier, how pretty Temeka looked with baby's breath wringing her head, mascara and deep purple eyeshadow accentuating her eye. He sighed and began to cry. Why him? Why her? What was this thread they were willing to kill for? As he wallowed, a single beam of light began pulsing in the shred of fabric gripping his leg. The surprise of such a strange phenomenon sobered him slightly. He rubbed the tears and sweat from his eye and caught movement on the couch. With some hesitancy, the remainder of the blanket shimmied and sparkled and levitated. What the? Beshmak collected what senses he had left, tugged on the golden thread dangling from the throw, and pulled himself up and onto the tattered carpet. It floated out the door, causing Beshmak to duck. He ignored his fever. He pushed past his pain and yelled, Temeka, I'm coming.
Oh, nice. Nice.
That was great.
That was
That was great.
fantastic. Holy cow. The specificity I mean, was amazing. It was so vivid to me.
And it was very subtle that she was a Cyclops.
Yeah. Oh, there was.
I mentioned the eye so many times.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you actually, when there was a line where you actually said "I" instead of "eyes," and I went, "Oh, nice."
Yeah.
Nice. That was awesome.
Anyway.
I actually really liked that. That was awesome.
Well, thank you. I don't do anything.
Was that a van? So was that modern times?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I like the Secret Society too. What was it called again?
The preservation for the the Society for the Preservation of Enchanted Secrets.
Yeah, I freaking loved that.
Yeah.
What a cool urban fantasy. You have to keep that one.
Yes.
That's one you've got to get ready for.
Yeah, I like that. I love the Secret Society. That's just fantastic.
That was just amazing. Okay, well, I got to do this.
Okay,
Let's
you're up.
rip the Band-Aid off. Mine is called Love Thump.
Loathe?
Okay.
Love
Thump.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Galliac was terrible at two things: love and being a magic carpet pilot. He supposed he should have expected it. He was a Cyclops, after all, not the sexiest of the kingdom's denizens, and flying was something that, generally speaking, required just a smidge more depth perception than his monocular vision provided. He never would have climbed aboard the damn thing in the first place, but tonight was the fever dance, and Apollonia had agreed to be his date. Her acceptance had been the result of a hard-fought campaign of begging, pleading, and throwing tantrums, but tonight, he was determined to win her over. There would never be another chance. All he needed to do so was the passion potion of the ancients, and that only existed on the Forbidden Isle. Galliac had to succeed, his own safety be damned. Of course, the Forbidden Isle was a tiny shopping archipelago about 45 miles away from its village of Love Thump, and it was known as much for its barbecued elf as it was the mysteries of the Forgotten World. The magic carpet wasn't anything to write home about either. It had been abandoned by a shady spice merchant years before and had sort of just become the Love Thump's communal transport. The only requirement was that it be cleaned and dried after use. That rule, of course, had come into being after Spittle the Goblin had used it as a party carpet for a bachelorette party of horny sprites. The horrors the town witnessed when the carpet was returned that day were still whispered about in hushed tones. None of this mattered to Galliac. As he soared above the treetops, his loincloth flapping in the breeze, prompting horrified calls to cover that up from the more prudish of tree fairies as he passed overhead. All he could think about was Apollonia, her thick hips, her cascading purple hair, her yellow toenailed feet, and of course, her single ruby red eye. If there was a more beautiful creature in all of the kingdom, he had not seen it, and tonight, she would be his. She doesn't like you, you know, the magic carpet whispered into his mind. Shut up, Galliac whined. Just fly me to the potions. Or, you know, we could gamble, the carpet offered. Roll some bones, maybe? I hear Bastardo's wallet-wrecking emporium gives away free drinks. For the last time, no, Galliac yelled. This night is for Apollonia and no one else. Fine, whatever, Carpet sighed. Bastardo's probably too cool for you anyway. Galliac glared down at the faded pattern on the carpet. Did you just throw down? He said. All Galliac could see in his head was the image of the carpet smiling. You son of a bitch, I'm broke, Galliac yelled at the magic carpet. He flopped on the muddy street outside of the gaudily lit entrance to Bastardo's and punched the ground. I've been waiting to buy that potion for weeks. I told you she's, Carpet said, swaying side to side, unsteady on its tassels. She's not worth it. Are you drunk? Galliac asked Carpet. Guilty, Carpet giggled. How? Galliac asked, incredulous. A carpet never drinks and tells, he replied, then doubled over, laughing at something only he found funny. Galliac crossed his arms. I hope you're happy, he blurted. You've ruined my night. Carpet didn't answer. When Galliac looked back to him, Carpet was happily chatting up a leggy wood elf with a name tag that read Candy. I said, Galliac insisted, you ruined my night. Right, Carpet said, waving his tassel at the sparkling-eyed elf as she strutted away, blowing him a kiss. Tell you what, I'll take you back to, you tell Apollonia I have enchanted you, and it'll all be okay. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, Galliac replied. Trust me, Carpet said, grinning. It'll work. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, Apollonia scoffed when Galliac knelt in front of her. The Fury dance was in full swing. Cyclops, satyrs, and horsey people, Galliac always forgot their name, writhed and swayed to the sick beat pounded out by a pair of helmeted goblins at the front of the stage. It was magical, it was sexy, and it was completely out of Galliac's reach. Apollonia looked away, bored. No, Galliac said, spreading his arms wide. I mean it, I'm enchanted. He offered her a toothy grin. You're muddy and you smell like ass, Apollonia replied. She thrust her palm towards him. I knew it was a bad idea to say yes. She turned away, a hulking troll with a spray pan and a Bridges for Life tattoo spreading across his bulging bicep as he led her away. Told you she didn't like you, Carpet whispered. You suck, you know that? Galliac answered. Carpet didn't reply, but instead sagged. Galliac realized with a start that he'd hurt the magic Carpet's feelings, and he blew out a loose-lipped sigh. Listen, Galliac began. He didn't get to finish. Carpet instead burst into the air, dragging one of the wooden punch bowls from the snack table into the air. He wobbled ahead and with a wavering lunge, poured the contents of the punch bowl onto Apollonia's head. Run! Carpet screamed in his head. Galliac didn't have to be told twice. Told you she didn't like you, Carpet said later as he and Galliac sat on a nearby cliff, looking out over the moonlit ocean far below. But she's my dream, Galliac sighed. No, she's your fantasy, Carpet corrected. I don't think you've figured out your dream yet. Galliac turned to him, surprised. That actually makes sense. Of course it does, Carpet replied. You're not my first passenger, you know. Galliac took a deep drag on his pipe. Well then, he said, to figuring out my dream. To your dream, Carpet replied, raising a tassel. He flopped back on the ground next to Galliac and sighed. Just remember to clean me up tomorrow. That wood elf was to my dream, Galliac repeated loudly, determined not to hear how that sentence ended. This time, Carpet kept his mind hole shut. The end.
Oh, that was great. As always, you don't disappoint us, Tony. You really don't. Oh my gosh.
It was actually going to go in a very different direction. But then I had the idea of what if he loses his money? There was going to be like a merchant and she was going to talk him out of it. And he was going to learn his lesson the old fashioned way. And then I thought, no, let's make the Carpet a player.
And I like that Spittle was back around again. One of our early episodes, I forget which one, Tony's wrote what was the name of the story? Spittle the demon.
Yeah.
So sorry, we cursed. I'm sorry, people.
I should have said that beforehand. It occurred to me as I was reading. I was like,
I think I'll bleep those out because I think that we have issues when you curse. I think
really?
that I think we do. So I'll bleep those out.
I'm sorry, didn't mean to cause problems.
It's okay. But yeah, it's hysterical, really hysterical.
So one of these days, at this rate, I'm gonna keep doing these because I could write an anthology of a really sad, weird fantasy world.
Well, and what I liked is I love that bridging of bringing Spittle in, and it, and it could, I could so see this as like linked stories, and each story will reference one thing from the other story before it.
Yeah.
So like in the next story, Spittle won't be there, but maybe the magic carpet is, or like going, just this kind of domino effect.
Yeah.
That was just, it's always so entertaining, and the details, and my gosh, the dialogue, and just
and just the way you perform it too. Reading these just they're good, but the performance just elevates it even so much more.
Thank you. I actually had a lot more fun writing that than I thought I was going to today.
I know we all came into this kind of like, we're so tired and everything. And
Yes.
I had more fun and energy than I thought I would have.
Yeah, same here. And I
here.
have not written in a couple days. And so this was fun. I would like to get to a point where I can write more than one page. I wrote 456 words. I'm really trying for when I can just plow, because we ended up writing about 40 minutes instead of, we started at 20, we added 10, and then we added 5, but I forgot to start the timer for about 5 minutes.
So how many words did you get to, Tony? Do you know?
1,028.
Okay, so I don't know. I should type this in and tell you guys, but so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 written pages.
Yeah, look at that.
So
That's
and yours was this beautiful story. I was like, oh my God. And Melissa had this beginning of, oh my God, this is a wonder. And I'm writing about horny carpets.
I love the horny carpet. So, and the idea, I'd like to see the, what was the name of the guy again?
Galliac.
I would like to see him with the carpet doing more things, maybe even taking people on tours and things,
I have to admit, Galliac comes from a game of Boulder Dash from 20 odd years ago. And we heard Galliac and Haffle were both words. And over a night of giggling, we decided that Galliac had an incontinent steed named Haffle. So I will somehow work Haffle into something in my life.
You have
Galliac and his incontinent steed Haffle. So So, and now that I know Galliac's a lovelorn Cyclops, that adds more. So
who rides magic carpets for a living.
The community carpet.
Yes, he's like the Uber driver, right?
Yes. And now I have a picture of like the bike racks in cities now that you can rent a bike, a bunch of carpets all like lined up.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah. I mean, there's so much you can do with that. I just love that.
Both of yours were very visual. I really loved them.
Well, I loved your guys's too. That was amazing.
Oh yeah. I'm really happy with our stories this week. They were fun. And like Lisa said, when we first came on, we talked about 15 minutes before I started recording, and all of us were just, oh man, I'm so tired. I don't want to be doing this. But it's always like that. You sit down, we start, and then we write, and we have just the best time ever. And it's just the randomness, and it's the not thinking. And unfortunately, I think too much still, and I'm trying to get out of my head, but eventually, maybe. I think one time when I wrote the story about the girl with the dragon, it's the only time I really, and I wrote a lot too. It was long, but it's about the only time I ever really kind of let go. And I need. And
I love that story too.
That was fun. I want to revisit that and do more with that.
Yeah.
And that was a fantasy. That was the last time we did fantasy, which was a few months ago, I think. But this was so much fun. I'm so glad you could come on today, Tony. Thank you, Lisa. And hold the book up again. Anybody who is watching on video. Oh, Tony, hold your book up. Tony has a new book out. Okay, there's our roller prompt writing journal. It's the fantasy book. Tony writes space opera, and he just had a book come out this week called Stars Forever Black. So hold that up for everybody. If you are on video,
very cool.
It is really good. It is thick. It is a fun. Yeah, it's a fun, fast read, as one reviewer wrote, and it's really good. I'll have links in the show notes to our roller prompt books, to Tony's book. I know his second book is getting ready to come out. He has a trilogy. The whole trilogy is done. So you don't have to wait years and years. The second book is coming out June,
July is what it's looking like.
July. Do you
Although,
think the third will be out by Christmas?
oh, absolutely. I do want to add one thing that you said that kind of circles back on that, and that is about writing without thinking. It is so easy as a writer to second and triple and quadruple guess yourself. And as I'm editing book 2, as Melissa knows, I am stuck in that vicious cycle right now. Tonight was a nice reminder to just trust your gut. Just trust your gut. So,
Yeah. Don't think about it. Just write.
Oh, no words were better spoken.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
all right.
You get the words out there. So I want to thank you both for coming on. You can find all the links to everything we have talked about in the show notes. If you have a comment or want to suggest a book for me to chat with the author on a future show, go down to the show notes again and you'll see the word comment. It will take you over to the YouTube page and I will see your comment. If you comment on whatever the podcast is, I may not see it. So please go to the YouTube page to comment. I'm also on Instagram under books_cubed. So you can find me there. And don't forget to check out Jay Ingram's music. I will have a link to his stuff in the show notes. And that's it. So we will be back. I will be back another time. And we do these once a month. So we'll be back. And I'm rambling and I'm going to stop it. And you go read a good book. I'll see you next time.